Hello everyone. Introduce the name Harry. On this occasion, I will introduce about hardware. Hardware, or better known as hardware, are all types of components on a computer whose physical part can be seen with the naked eye or can be felt directly. So, it can be said that hardware is physical computer equipment that is useful for processing input, processing, and output. Some of the such as RAM, CPU, mouse, keyboard, scanner, monitor, printer, and many more. In addition, hardware is generally also seen as a form of output from each process of a computer's operating system. However, to support the work of this device, certain software is still needed. That way, every desired command can operate properly. From the understanding of the hardware, it can also be seen some of the function of the device itself. The main function of the hardware here includes many things, such as in terms of displaying and receiving, processing input, providing output, supporting computer work, and processing information that inside and outside the computer. From the general function of the hardware, the following is a complete explanation. Number 1. Processing data or information. This means several types of hardware that have a function to process data or information. To process data and run process on a computer system. Example processor devices are CPU, RAM, VGA, and so on. Number 2. Receive output, namely hardware that has a special function in receiving input from the user. That way, later the hardware will processing into new information. The data received from the input can be transferred to the output. Number 3. Giving output. If it has been processed, that hardware will provide output again to the user. All of the output is viable. B. The user display on dedicated hardware. This mechanism is the one that influences the input-output. Number 4. Save information and data. In this case, all the output generated by the computer can be stored on the secondary storage device of the computer. This storage can be done not only on devices that are installed inside the computer, but also devices that are installed outside. Those are some of the functions of computer hardware. Some of the functions that I have mentioned earlier. Of course, you have a better understanding of what hardware is. In addition, there are also several types of hardware, including number one, input device. One type of hardware is used to enter information and data, whether it's in the form of video, text, image, audio, and other into a computer. Example. Example 1. Mouse is one type of hardware. The server to move the cursor on the computer screen. In addition, by using the mouse, the users will also find it easier to choose whatever menu they want on the computer. Example 2. Keyboard. A type of hardware that serves to assist user in entering numbers, symbols, and letters into the computer. Example 3. Scanner. Useful for converting document from hard copy to soft copy. This type of hardware is generally very important to use. The reason is there are many people who need it to receive important documents with signature and stamps. Number 2. Output device is a type of hardware that is useful in displaying information and printing the result of data input that US does. The data or information comes from hardware input that has passed the hardware process. For example, fax monitor, projectors to prints. Below the explanation. Example 1. Monitor. It is a component that every company needs to have in doing various jobs. Generally, the work is related to document and data. Example 2. Printer. One type of hardware that you can use to print all kinds of documents you want. Example 3. LCD projector. Useful hardware to make it easier for you to display videos and images to the LCD screen from a computer. This means when using an LCD projector, you can display a processing more clearly. Number 3. Processing device. This type of hardware can be useful in processing data as well as running processor that exists on computer system. Processors device such as CPU, RAM, VGA, and many more. Example 1. CPU. Central Processing Unit is a tool that is useful in controlling the entire work process on the computer, whether it's from instruction management to produce the desired output. Example 2. VGA, Video Graphics Array, a device the function to process and process graphics data so that the result can later be displayed on the computer monitor screen. Example 3. RAM, Random Access Memory, is a type of hardware that can determine the speed of access in computer. Number 4. Device for storing. Storage device, or better recognized as a device for storing. This device is one type of hardware that functions to store computer data. Example 1. Hard disk is a device that functions to storage information and data in a computer with a large enough capacity. This device from like portable. Example 2. Flash disk is a data storage device from a computer that has a USB connector. The connector will make it easier for this device to connect to a computer or other media usage. You can use this flash disk to transfer data from one computer to another. Example 3. Optical discs. It is a data storage medium that can be read or written by a laser light. Generally, the optical disc here is in the form of a CD, compact disc, or DVD, digital fair stable disc. Number 5. Enhancements. Additional tools are useful in helping the computer execute user commands. These devices are generally referred to as peripherals, which are useful in connecting computer device to the internet network. An example is a modem. You can use the modem here as a communication tool to convert digital signal into analog signal or analog signal into digital signal. From the explanation that I have explained earlier regarding the definition of hardware above, you are now, of course, much more aware of this device. The existence of computer hardware itself is certainly very useful to facilitate the work and daily activities of humans, especially for the activities of an office or central company that requires hardware to do what is needed quickly, easily, and efficiently. Hardware, like other objects around us, you also need to take good care of all the devices. If one, the hardware computer alone can work properly, that every data and information processing process can run properly and in accordance with what we want.